To the home of Sooner fans, KREF, Norman, Oklahoma, and streaming live on the KREF app.
The Ref Sports Radio Network.
Live from the Buffalo Wild Wings studios, it's time to get locked into the best Sooner recruiting and football news with Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
Hit the guys up on the Riverwind Casino call-in line at 405-329-9000. Or text the show on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439.
Do it! Just do it!
Now, with Locked In, here's Parker Thune and Grayson Singleton.
Folks, I want to start off the show by saying we love you all. We're glad that all of you crazies out there just want to listen to ball talk on a Monday afternoon. Because I have Sports Center on in the studio here at the Ref, and currently they are rating NFL players' game day outfits as they are walking into the stadium. This is what national television programming has become.
Okay, you're a little bit behind the TV that I've got in here. They did that for 45 seconds.
It was a little longer than 45 seconds.
Okay, 2 minutes.
It was a little longer than 45 seconds.
You get my idea, though.
My point is, folks, there's apparently a market for this stuff. I don't know how. But we're going to talk ball today. We're going to talk OU football and recruiting because that is what we do during the 2 o'clock hour every weekday here on the Ref. Parker Thune alongside Grayson Singleton. How was your weekend, man? Did you field any additional advances from single women?
No, that didn't happen, actually.
Really?
No, I did not. I was around my girlfriend the whole time. So
okay,
actually, I tell you what. Yes, I did.
Really? Oh, here we go.
I'm not going to tell I'm not going to tell a detailed story because there really isn't one. You know, just a couple of looks and glances when I was out with my girlfriend 5 feet away from me. So, like,
looks and glances don't really count.
But that's women's choosing signals, though.
Fair. Eh.
But no, we of course we shut it down immediately.
Good.
But no overt ones,
Okay.
shall I say. Not that happened on Thursday.
Excellent. Folks, we have a lot to unpack over the course of this show. I would go as far as to say it is going to be a jam-packed program today. But obviously, first and foremost, on a Monday, and we're going to get to Jahsiear Rogers' commitment, all the recruiting news and nuggets of which you guys need to be apprised as we get further along here in the show. But first and foremost, let's talk about the game. Let's talk about the loss. Ole Miss 34, Oklahoma 26 on Saturday afternoon. The natives are restless, as they typically are after an Oklahoma loss. Folks are not happy, Mr. Singleton. Folks are not happy with the performance that Oklahoma put on in Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium on Saturday afternoon because, let's call it like it is here, the opportunities to win the football game were there, and Oklahoma did not take advantage. They played their worst game of the year defensively. You can make an argument that at least situationally, John Mateer played his worst game of the year. He didn't turn the ball over 3 times like he did against Texas, but there was a lot that was there for John Mateer that he simply did not take advantage of. A lot of throws, a lot of reads, a lot of opportunities that were missed. And what did it all add up to? Despite a fantastic day on the ground from Xavier Robinson, Oklahoma winds up with loss number 2 on the season.
You know, this Oklahoma to me, I was thinking about this immediately after the game. Oklahoma to me is in a very unfamiliar situation in this. Lane Kiffin going for it on that 4th down from inside his own 25. I've never seen Oklahoma be so disrespected by it, like that in my life. Complete disrespect and disregard for their offense. Because here's the thing. If you guys were watching on TV, as I know a lot of you were, you heard them say this on the broadcast. Lane Kiffin is going for it on 4th down less than he usually does. He bucked his own trend that bucked his previous trend. Why? Because he knew Oklahoma's offense wasn't going to be able to do anything if they screwed it up. And not only does he go for it on 4th down from inside his own 25, he runs a gimmick play with a high possibility of going awry. So he does all of that. And then you compound that on top of the fact that he did that weird quarterback swap with Austin Simmons on the goal line. He doesn't respect Oklahoma's offense. And that, to me, is a place where I've never seen Oklahoma. Like, there's a lot of different angles we can go about in this game, but if you want to know the state of the program right now, to me, it's that right there, that another coach went into your house and said, I don't care how much I screw this up, I don't think you can take advantage of it. And that, to me, was the problem.
Is Lane Kiffin just going to be out there doing stuff the rest of the year? Like, because he knows he's got a major payday waiting for him at season's end. Whether it's a substantial raise at Ole Miss or the Florida job or the LSU job, whatever job it may be, Lane Kiffin knows he's getting the bag at the end of the year. Is he just, was that on Saturday, was that decision on Saturday just evidence that Lane Kiffin is at the point where he feels like he's playing with house money the rest of the way?
Absolutely. And he felt like he was playing with house money at that point in the game.
And here's the problem. Here's why I bring that up. You're going to face 2 more opponents in the month of November that are objectively playing with house money right now. Missouri without their starting quarterback and LSU with an interim head coach at the helm in what has become a throwaway year for that program. And so you better be ready to deal with some stuff that you don't figure you have to deal with on a typical Saturday. You don't figure you're going to have to be in a situation where you're trying to scheme for the opposing head coach drawing up a play to try and convert on 4th and 1 from the minus 25-yard line. You may deal with some of that type of stuff against Missouri and LSU because there's going to be, and I wouldn't call it a sense of desperation. You're past the point of desperation. But they're going to act as though they have nothing to lose because at this point, they really don't.
And that makes you harder to prepare for because when you're playing with something if you're playing and coaching as if you've got nothing to lose, that means conventional football wisdom goes out the window. And it makes you that much more unpredictable in a good way or a negative way. And obviously the risk reward is certainly in the calculus as well. And speaking of situational football, I'm glad you brought this up because this was kind of a talking point around the office this morning. Oklahoma's defense had been so good on 3rd down. And part of the reason I ultimately picked Oklahoma on this show to win the game is because I thought if they were good enough on 1st and 2nd down defensively, whoever lived in 3rd and long the most was going to lose the football game. Mm-hmm. Ole Miss had an average of 3rd down and 7. And they were 9 for 21 on 3rd downs. Just under 50%. Like, what happened here? And to me, and I know a lot of people are on the side of firing Brent Venables, but to me, this game, that part of the game, had to do with Brent Venables. Because if you're an elite defensive coordinator, and he is, 3rd down and long is your bag. That's supposed to
ought to be.
That's supposed to be where you go into your blitzes and you go into your exotic coverages, and you either get turnovers or negative plays, or at the worst, you get the team off the field. And that was the most mind-boggling part of the game to me, is that Ole Miss lived in 3rd down and long, and for whatever reason, probably not spying Trinidad Chambliss enough was part of it, they couldn't get off the field. It was a mind-boggling game to me.
The Waffler on the text line wants to know, do you guys think our record would be 8-0 if Trinidad Chambliss was our quarterback? There's a chance. Because I tell you, John Mateer's 2 worst games of the season, by a long shot, have come in the 2 games that Oklahoma lost. Texas and Ole Miss. And that is because, Grayson, as we've been talking about since it feels like week 3 of the season, what is Oklahoma's offense if John Mateer is not playing his best football? They're handicapped. John Mateer not playing his best football takes an enormous chunk out of Oklahoma's offensive identity. And I think what you learned on Saturday, too, there are a lot of folks that want to poo-poo lower-level transfers from the FCS and D2 ranks. You know where Trinidad Chambliss was playing football last year? Ferris State University.
Yep.
in Michigan. Folks, you saw all the evidence that you needed to see on Saturday that not all D2 transfers suck. Not all guys that started out their college careers playing at lower levels are total lost causes. And, man, I do know that Oklahoma did engage with Trinidad Chambliss when he was in the transfer portal, and he very nearly – this is a funny story – he very nearly wound up at Temple. He was going to be a Temple Owl before Ole Miss entered the fray and made him a good enough offer to convince him to come down to Oxford as the backup, mind you. This is the guy that was Ole Miss's backup to start the season. And he's playing on a Heisman caliber type of level and played an outstanding football game against Oklahoma on Saturday. Didn't make every single play, but, man, he made the plays that Ole Miss needed him to make. The Waffler says, I'll tell you this, I'll take John Mateer at his worst over Jackson Arnold, who finally got benched at Auburn. Most hilarious part of that whole deal was that it was Kenai Walker. Kenai Walker, who is up there, man. When you talk about the worst players of the Brent Venables era that were regularly seeing snaps for the Sooners on either side of the ball, Kenai Walker is in that conversation. He is a leading contender for that distinction. And it was him, of all people, that slammed the door on the short-lived Jackson Arnold era at Auburn University.
Going back to John Mateer, because I had to look this up this weekend. What if John Mateer's always been John Mateer?
What does that mean?
Okay, so pre-thumb injury. Remember, I've been on his accuracy being questionable for over a month now, which would predate the thumb injury. Completion percentages over the course of this season for John Mateer. Illinois State completed 81%. Any, capable P4 quarterback can do that.
Sure.
Against Michigan, 62%. Against Temple, 59%. Completed 2/3 of his passes against Auburn, and that's the last game pre-thumb.
Sure.
Okay, so we already have questions about the accuracy before the thumb. You want to know what his completion percentage was last year at Washington State, which was his first full season as a starter?
Wasn't it like 62?
It was 64.6.
Okay.
It is now 63.6. What if this is just John Mateer? What if this has always been John Mateer? A quarterback who can make big-time throws, is a little bit inconsistent with the way he sees the field, and has a high boom and a very low bust potential. And it just meets in that equilibrium in the middle of it with a middle-of-the-road completion percentage, a lot of really good plays, and plays that you're left scratching your head. What if this has always been John Mateer? Which was why in the Texas game, I was hesitant to blame the thumb for certain things. Because that game, it seemed like it was his decision-making. You win next week by asking him to do less, and then this week comes, and we see what happens.
A 405 listener says, I think Grayson's right. And I think there's a lot of truth to what you're presenting there. Now, I will say this, and I brought this up end of last hour. John Mateer also does not look nearly the same as a runner. He is not as aggressive.
No, he's not.
He runs a lot more tentatively since the injury than he did over the first 4 weeks of the season. Now, is that more do you chalk that up to the thumb, or do you chalk that up to the knee injury that he was dealing with going into the Auburn game as well?
There's the knee, and I'll tell you this too. Auburn, I think, was the first team to do this. The teams are playing him as a runner a lot better. Because have you noticed this? And Ole Miss did it. Texas definitely did it with Anthony Hill. They are leaving a linebacker in, and they know he's going to flee the pocket for whatever reason. Either it's poor pocket presence, or the Sooners have surrendered a lot of pressure up the interior.
Yeah, offensive line has got to play better.
Yes, especially in the interior three. So for whatever reason, they know Mateer is going to leave the pocket. So what are we going to do? Because of the day and age we're in, where everybody has middle linebackers that can run like wide receivers, we're going to leave one in the middle, and we're just going to spy you, and as soon as you leave, Auburn was the first to do it. We're going to dart a linebacker at you. And I think that combined with the knee, combined with the offensive line deterioration, has led to exactly what you just said.
580 Mike Honcho on the text line sent us a mini manifesto. I'm a BV guy, but is anyone else tired of hearing about how the two teams we've lost to have played the best game of the season against us? That sounds so cheesy. Why don't we stop allowing them to play their best game and make plays to change it? It just sounds like a cop-out to me. Our problem is not other teams playing their best games against us. Our problem is not elevating our play in big games, and we beat ourselves over and over and over. This defense is supposed to be elite, and I didn't see that Saturday. Yes, our offense didn't help them in situations, but regardless, we should not have allowed 34 points to that team. And I don't want to hear how Alabama went to South Carolina and played while we beat them by 3 scores. Bottom line is, good playoff teams make plays to win games, like Alabama, and we are making plays to lose games. Also, X played his best game at Oklahoma Saturday, which means he probably won't get another snap for 2 weeks with DeMarcus' track record. Wow. Crazy shade at the end there.
Yeah.
But agreement. Like, John Mateer did not play well enough for Oklahoma to win on Saturday. But Oklahoma's defense also got exposed, more so than they have all season. And that goes back to, I think it's just an instance of Brent Venables getting outcoached by an outstanding offensive mind in Lane Kiffin. And that's twice in 3 weeks that's happened because Steve Sarkisian outcoached him too.
Let me pitch this to you. Are we at the point with Brent Venables where we recognize that he is a capable head coach in college football, but when you're going up against the elites, you will never be at a coaching advantage with Brent Venables at the helm when you're going up against the elite dudes? And sure, they outfoxed Kalen DeBoer last year. And I think Kalen DeBoer is right up there within the great to elite tier, somewhere in that borderline.
Well, no, I don't think that's the case. Here's what I would say.
Okay.
Because we've also seen enough instances over the years where Brent Venables just absolutely has one of the premier offensive minds in college football in a paper bag for 60 minutes. Brent Venables is a top-tier defensive mind, but he is not infallible. He is not unbeatable. There will be instances, there will be games where a guy like Lane Kiffin does scheme up a game plan and makes adjustments in the moment such that he gets the upper hand on Brent.
And I'm not talking about Brent as a defensive mind. I'm not talking about him as a defensive coordinator. I'm talking about him as a head coach now. And that to me, I think is where the problem lies here, is that you've got a really, really elite defensive mind and a really, really elite defensive coordinator. But for some reason, the combination of everything it takes to be a head coach might be peeling away from one or something else, to the fact where when you're going up against the elite, you're just not going to have the advantage at head coach.
Mm-hmm. And obviously that's not a new theory. That's something that folks were floating as early as 2022. And the month of November, I think, is going to go a long way towards either holding off or confirming some of those notions about Brent as a head football coach.
Real quick, we have a super chat on our YouTube chat.
Let's hear it.
All right. SBC Bates asks, people told us when we got him that he struggled against real competition. If only we had been able to run the ball last weekend. Oh, wait.
Who is that in reference to? Mateer?
Mateer. But then I think it was a reference to Ben Arbuckle refusing to continue to run the football.
Yeah, the Oklahoma backs only got 15 carries on Saturday. John Mateer ran the ball 13 times for a total of 17 yards. The quarterback run game is not nearly as dangerous as it was early in the season, and to me, that goes back to the reality that Mateer just isn't running with the same vigor, the same fire that he was running with before the injury. Again, I don't know which injury. It's the thumb. It more likely, I would say, could be the knee. Whatever the case, whatever's going on in his head, he does not have that same oomph as a runner and that same willingness to absorb contact and initiate contact.
I know we got to get to some recruiting stuff, but how hurt do you think that knee is?
I don't know, man. The problem is it's really hard to gauge because John Mateer is never going to make excuses about how he's feeling physically. I mean, we've learned this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
His thumb was not right in the Texas game, but he completely disavowed any notion that it had anything to do with his poor play that day. And so, look, I give him credit. I get it. He's trying to He's trying to buck up, trying to be the tough guy that you feel like this program needs playing the quarterback position. But I don't know that you're ever going to be able to get him to say, yeah, this is hurting me, or yeah, this is affecting me. And so the answer to that question, in all actuality, we may never know. We probably will never know, because the only person that does know, the only person that can know, is John Mateer, and I don't think he's ever going to be completely forthcoming about it. Okay, folks, 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. On the other side, might not have been a triumphant week for Oklahoma on the gridiron, but the recruiting returns, highly positive. Highly positive, and we will dig into many of those storylines on the other side, including Oklahoma's latest commitment as of this morning. Keep it here on the Ref. The home of Sooner fans. We'll be back.
A true Sooner fan wouldn't be caught dead without the KREF app. Join the Army. Get the app. Tell your friends. This is the Ref, where diehard Sooner fans listen.
Where do Oklahoma sports fans go to watch the big game? Gridiron Sports Bar at River Spirit Casino Resort in Tulsa. With multiple viewing screens and a huge LED wall, you'll never miss a play. Enjoy bar-top gaming, Top Golf swing suites, delicious game day food and drinks, and a VIP lounge for top-tier players. Gridiron Sports Bar takes sports fans to another viewing level. Gridiron Sports Bar, Tulsa's fan favorite.
Oklahoma DRS helps job seekers with disabilities become taxpayers.
Their whole thing is to help people with disabilities go back to work.
They knew that I would be successful if I did not give up.
They have given me the power and confidence to face any challenge.
I'm just glad that, DRS was there. Empower yourself. Talk to DRS Vocational Rehabilitation
or Services for the Blind today.
OKDRS.gov. 800-487-4042.
Hey, it's Mike Steele here for my friend Gary and the great staff at Cavens Group. After all the rain in the spring and now with temperatures on the rise, you might have a problem with mold growing in your home or business. Let the staff at Cavens help you before it becomes a major issue. Don't forget, Cavens can help you with water emergencies and biohazard cleanup 24 hours a day. Call Cavens today at 405-573-3048 or visit them online at cavensgroup.com.
At Armstrong Bank, your business isn't just business to us, it's personal. Our bankers are invested in your success, and we're ready to build a relationship that lasts. You deserve a strong financial partner by your side. Together, we can help make your business even stronger with products and services designed for your convenience. To learn more, visit a location near you or visit armstrong.bank. Armstrong Bank, strength runs in our family. Member FDIC.
Sooner Nation, are you ready? Football season is here, and new arrivals are landing daily at Balfour of Norman from your favorite brands. Whether you're dressing for game day, setting up the perfect tailgate, or hosting the ultimate watch party, we've got everything you need. Live from historic Campus Corner in Norman, Oklahoma. Shop Balfour of Norman, your home of everything Sooner. Shop in store or online at crimsonproud.com.
Ready to jumpstart your future? Start training for a high-demand, high-wage career in healthcare, construction, IT, manufacturing, or STEM while you're still in high school. Moore and Norman sophomores, juniors, and seniors apply online today to attend Moore Norman Technology Center next fall. Talk to your MNTC rep at school or visit mntc.edu to learn more. Change your life, build your tomorrow, start your future now at Moore Norman Technology Center.
Oh my Nosh, look at that view, and the food too. Come see us at Nosh on the Green at the Jimmy Austin Golf Club. We're open to the public and open at 8 a.m. Monday, Wednesday through Sunday, as well as game days. Come by and make us a part of your game day tradition and take it up a notch. Event spaces are available through the Jimmy Austin Golf Club or call 405-630-8267. Nosh at the Green at the Jimmy Austin Golf Club in Norman, your game day headquarters.
Chronic absenteeism is on the rise.
Sophia A., absent. Julio M., absent.
These absences are often due to the absence of crucial needs, like food, transportation, and health care.
Olivia H., absent.
Preston L., absent.
But site coordinators from communities and schools connect kids to the resources they need so they show up prepared. and ready to learn.
Jacob O. Present.
Visit communitiesandschools.org. Being present matters.
We need to stop with one thing, folks. Well, we need to stop with a lot of things as a society, as a state, as a fan base, many things. Here's one thing that grinds my gears, though. Oklahoma loses a game, and inevitably I see multiple people saying, could we maybe find a new head coach and have Brent Venables just stick around as defensive coordinator? Folks, nothing like that has ever happened before in college football. Nor will it begin with Brent Venables in the University of Oklahoma.
No.
So, please, let's just kill that, put that to bed right off the rip here, because nothing like that is ever going to happen, least of all at the University of Oklahoma. Okay, let's dig into recruiting here. 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. The show brought to you today by Dorsey Jones GMC out in El Reno. If you're shopping around for a new vehicle, go check out Dorsey Jones, because GMC offers some of the most reliable trucks and SUVs on the road today, and you can also get fantastic service, friendly service at that, out at Dorsey Jones, including half-price oil changes on Saturdays. So swing out to El Reno, give them a look. Oklahoma got a brand new wide receiver commit this morning, Grayson Singleton, and boy, did the OU staff work fast. Holy smokes, man. This came together ahead of schedule. Jahsiear Rogers, the 4-star wide receiver out of Middleton, Delaware, who was still, as of this morning, technically committed to Penn State, decided over the weekend, after his first official visit since reopening his recruitment, that he was ready to lock in with the Sooners. Canceled subsequent OVs to Alabama and Nebraska, left Indiana at the altar, decided, nope, it's Oklahoma for me. And man, the Oklahoma staff is in love with Jahsiear Rogers. They think this guy is going to be an elite playmaker in the Southeastern Conference. And when you flip on his tape, it's not hard to see the vision. This is one explosive dude. 4-star prospect, according to Rivals, top 200 player in the nation. He's only about 5'10", 5'11", so a bit of a different body type than the 3 wide receivers Oklahoma had committed previously in the 6'3" Daniel Odom, the 6'1" Braden Allen, and 6'4" Xavier Okafaleze. But man, this is a guy that in the return game and as a receiver, you can very well envision him making enormous plays for Oklahoma down the line.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. And I think he's a really good complement to what Oklahoma has committed right now at wide receiver preceding him, with the big-bodied guys of Braden Allen, Okafaleze, Daniel Odom as well. Those are dudes that are all north of 6 feet and have very good skill sets as well. But there is something to having that 5'10", 5'11" dude that's just hard to stay in front of, that's real quick, and then you add his leaping ability on top of it that allows him to play bigger than that frame, and you can certainly see a world where he is a high-level impact player. But when you bring up the return game, and when you bring up the way that he can be used in different ways in an offense that, quite frankly, the last, at least this week, let's just isolate to this week, didn't look very ingenuitive at all. Now you can foresee, okay, we could add an extra dimension to our offense because of him. He has the ability to get us back to the point where we're making explosive plays in the return game. So he's a dude that I think elevates Oklahoma's ceiling, not just on offense, but overall because of the way he could impact the game.
Who's your top receiver right now? Really explosive 5'10" dude by the name of Isaiah Satania, who's on track for a 1,000-yard season.
Is he really 5'10"?
Yeah, 5'10".
I did not realize he doesn't look 5'10" on TV.
What does he look, taller or shorter?
A little bit taller, about 6 foot.
Yeah. Yeah, he's 5'10". And Jahsiear Rogers, I think you can envision that guy being, I don't know, Isaiah Satania probably isn't an exact comp. Marvin Mims probably isn't an exact comp. But when you think about those comparatively smaller-bodied wide receivers being major playmakers in the Oklahoma offense, those are the two guys in recent memory that spring to mind. And similarly, Rogers, like those two, probably offers some value in the return game as well as what he can bring to the offense with his playmaking ability at all three levels. Chapstick on the text line says, why do we keep going after 5'11 receivers? We need some 6'3 to 6'5 players. Chapstick, first off, we just talked about the fact that Rogers is the only one of Oklahoma's 4 wide receiver commits right now.
The other 3 were above 6 foot.
The only one of the 4 that is under 6'1". And if you really think there's still too much of a disturbing 5-foot-something wide receiver trend at the University of Oklahoma, I have great news for you. The 2 wide receivers that they are still actively recruiting and trying to get on board are 6'4 and 6'5", respectively. I'm sorry, they're both 6'4". Milan Paris, former Iowa State commit that Oklahoma hosted earlier in the month for an OV, and a guy that made it in this weekend for an unofficial after previously OVing in the month of June, Wisconsin commit Jayden Petit. I have said it before. I will say it again. I think Oklahoma gets this one done with Petit. I have every reason to believe right now that unless something materially changes and drastically changes, the Sooners are going to pull off that flip. And to me, Grayson, he's right there in the conversation. If you're ranking the 5 at that point, the 5 wide receivers that Oklahoma would have committed, there's a strong, strong case that Jayden Petit is the best of the 5.
I don't think there's a strong case. I think that's a given.
Really?
Yes. Yes, I do.
There are some that are partial to Daniel Odom. I know that. There are some that are partial to Jahsiear Rogers. But from where I stand, I think I like Jayden Petit the best. He's having an awesome senior year down in Florida.
And the reason I say it's a given is because, and I haven't checked out the stats on Daniel Odom just yet, but I have watched the tape of Jayden Petit in his senior tape. He's dominating. And you look at dudes, the ones that you project to the next level that are going to be studs at the next level, they're the ones that look like they belong on the next level while they're still at the younger level. And that's Jayden Petit. He's running all over and all around these dudes. He's the most dominant of all of the guys on this in this commitment class right now. He definitely, I think, is the best one out of the 4.
A 405 listener asks, if you're Rogers' parents, would you ask about BV's future before committing, especially with a Bama offer? No doubt you would, folks. And then, once again, I think this highlights the discrepancy between the perspective of the fans and the perspective of everyone else. I will tell you, I had multiple conversations yesterday with recruits asking about their opinions of Oklahoma following the games in which they expressed a sentiment that in so many words boils down to, yeah, they're a good team that lost a great game to a great opponent. No shame in that. That's how the recruits see it. They see a team that's 6-2. They see a team that's nationally ranked. They see a team that still could very well qualify for the college football playoff if they take care of business and get back to playing winning complementary football in the month of November. They don't see a sinking ship. I know some of you might. Recruits don't right now.
No.
They see a program that they want to be a part of, an offense that they want to be a part of, a fan base that they want to play in front of. And that spoke volumes on Saturday. It was an awesome environment in Owen Field. Yeah. And the weather was not fantastic by any stretch of the imagination. But the Sooner faithful showed out, and they were loud, and they gave Oklahoma a home field advantage. Obviously not an advantage that was enough to help sustain them to victory. But there was a lot of noise in that venue on Saturday.
Oh, and it came through the TV. It absolutely came through the TV. I mean, it was electric there. And it's been electric a couple of times that I've been in the stadium as well. So, no, yeah, I mean, the fan base certainly is going to play a role in this. And the ship is not sinking just yet. It's not sinking just yet. Now, 2-3 weeks from now, we might be having a different tone, maybe. But as of today, no. Also, by the way, you know what this makes me think of, Parker?
What's that?
How do we evaluate Emmett Jones? Because if there is one thing you can say about Emmett Jones that is undeniable, homie can recruit.
Yes, he can.
I mean, that dude can recruit, and he is excellent in the relational department. But, I mean, there's reason and there's room to criticize him in terms of, some people getting developed, which I don't believe we have enough of a sample size just yet. But there is, if you want to make the arguments, they are there to critique him in terms of how he's coached and how he's developed. But he is an A-plus recruiter.
Mm-hmm. And look, end of the day, I don't know if you want to give more credit to Emmett Jones or more credit to Ben Arbuckle for this, but receivers are getting open. That ain't the problem right now.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is you don't have a quarterback who is hitting open receivers with regularity.
That's a fair point. Speaking of quarterbacks, we've gotten a lot of these texts on the text line, so I want to honor these. With Brian Kelly being fired, is there any chance that Peyton Houston backs off his commitment to LSU?
If he ever did back off his commitment to LSU, Oklahoma would absolutely be the school best positioned to land his services. I don't think he's going to back off his commitment to LSU. And here's the theory that I'm going to share. And this is a theory, mind you. But I've spent a lot of time over the last 6 weeks trying to make the Peyton Houston commitment to LSU make sense. And here is the most sense that I can make of it, Grayson.
Mm-hmm.
Peyton Houston, I was told very early on, and I stayed closely abreast of Peyton Houston's recruitment for a year and a half before he committed. I was told pretty authoritatively early on in the process that Brian Kelly botched the kid's recruitment, and LSU was his dream school, always had been, but as bad as Brian Kelly messed up, he was not going to go play for LSU.
Which is a microcosm of Brian Kelly's time at LSU.
Correct. Very much on track with basically all of the stories that have come out since Brian Kelly was dismissed less than 24 hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I think happened. I started to catch on to this and formulate this theory in the last couple of weeks, and I believe it all the more now that Houston has gone out and publicly reaffirmed his commitment to LSU in the aftermath of Kelly's firing. I think he and his folks committed to LSU with the intention of never, ever playing for Brian Kelly. Let me unpack this.
No, I know where you're going with
this. There are
this.
two possible outcomes.
Okay.
Right? Once you commit to LSU, there are two possible outcomes. Before you sign, either Brian Kelly is fired or Brian Kelly is not fired. So let's operate under the assumption that Brian Kelly is not fired. If he is still not fired by the time you're ready to sign, obviously he and his family kept up contact with Oklahoma. They have kept up contact with Oklahoma. And Oklahoma's made it clear to Peyton Houston that, he's their guy above everybody else in the 2027 class. That was apparent all throughout the process. So you have the school that's going to be the safety net, if you will, in the event that Brian Kelly wasn't dismissed at LSU. But keep in mind here, he committed after the first 3 weeks of the season, in which it became very apparent that LSU team had some real issues.
Mm-hmm.
So what if he committed with the expectation that Kelly was going to get run out of town before he graduated high school? And then the position you've put yourself in is you are first in line to play at your dream school for the brand new head coach in the exciting new era, and you kind of hold the keys to the city. And if for whatever reason you don't like the head coaching hire, well, there's Oklahoma. Right?
Yeah. And I'll take that a step further and say this. I read Sam's article earlier today, Sam Spiegelman, your colleague, that the other big name recruits in the 2026 class aren't budging. They're not budging right now. And then there was a kid from Louisiana Tech that flipped to LSU earlier today. What if this Brian Kelly firing just works against everybody else who's been recruiting against LSU? What if some of these kids were like, yeah, I'll go play for LSU, but I will be ever more cemented in my decision to go to LSU if they get rid of this dude?
I think there were a lot of kids that committed to LSU not because of Brian Kelly, but in spite of Brian Kelly.
I 100% agree.
Actually quite pleased with how everything went down yesterday.
Yeah, I don't, based on the timeline of some of these events in the last 20 hours or so, I don't think Brian Kelly's firing is going to work to the advantage of anybody else other than LSU.
I agree. 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text lines. Hit a break. Hear from our fine sponsors. Final segment of Locked In coming up next here on The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
Sound off any time of day on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line at 405-651-3439. Knippelmeyer Chevrolet in Blanchard, USA.
Do you like to stand out in a crowd while wearing the best in OU apparel? The Jimmy Austin Pro Shop carries the best brands you can wear to work or even dress up events. Lines such as Lululemon, Travis Mathew, FootJoy, Greg Norman, Grayson, or Turtleson with the OU and Jimmy Austin logo are sure to catch everyone's eye. You don't have to be a golfer to shop at Jimmy Austin. They also do corporate special orders for you and your company. Call them today, 405-325-6716, or visit theougolfclub.com for more information.
With OG&E's Energy Efficiency Program, we'll provide the blueprint for lowering your bill and increasing your comfort. Whether it's tuning heat and air units, caulking and weather stripping drafty doors and windows, insulating your attic, or connecting you with valuable rebates, you'll improve efficiency and save money with no out-of-pocket costs. Learn more at oge.com/efficiency. At OG&E, we energize life.
Things get a little more electric this time of year, especially at Confidence Chevrolet Buick GMC. Get behind the wheel of the all-electric 2025 Chevrolet Silverado EV with exceptional lease deals this month. Or turn heads in the 2025 Buick Envista and save $3,100 with 0.9% APR and no payments until February 2026. Visit us today at 6100 Tinker Diagonal or online. Confidence Chevrolet Buick GMC, a Cavender family dealership where confidence is Cavender.
This is Mark Van Hoos, owner of Van Hoos Fence. Van Hoos Fence has years of experience and proven superior performance, kind of like a certain head ball coach.
We know Van Hoos Fence offers the best value and service for your residential, commercial, or sports fencing needs. Whether it's a new install or repair work, let Mark and his team at Van Hoos Fence be your trusted resource.
Call us today at 405-735-1167.
Save yourself from Googling it up. Go to vhfence.com. They will work with you in a great way.
Oklahoma DRS helps job seekers with disabilities become taxpayers.
Their whole thing is to help people with disabilities go back to work.
They knew that I would be successful if I did not give up.
They have given me the power and confidence to face any challenge.
I'm just glad that, DRS was there. Empower yourself. Talk to DRS Vocational Rehabilitation
or services for the blind today.
OKDRS.gov. 800-487-4042.
Being a family member's caregiver can be rewarding and challenging. Besides taking an emotional and physical toll, it can also take a real financial toll. Find out if you're eligible to get paid for the care you provide at the AARP Foundation Paid for Care Hub. Developed with support from United Healthcare, this free online tool can help you search compensation programs and explore your options. Go to paidforcare.aarpfoundation.org to learn more.
Mike Steele here for Lasher Home Comfort Systems, your trusted home comfort experts in the Oklahoma City metro area. Tim Lasher and his team have more than 130 years of combined experience. They recognize a significant number of homeowners live with inadequate home comfort systems. They specialize in diagnosing your home system issues while providing more efficiency and reducing your utility costs. As an authorized dealer of American Standard, Tim can service your residence or business. Call Tim and his team at 405-579-3113. Lasher Home Comfort Systems.
Tired of feeling pressured by salespeople when shopping for auto insurance? At Right Way Insurance, there's no hard sell, just a clear, straightforward approach. We work with multiple insurance companies to give you the best options and rates with no gimmicks. You'll get the right coverage tailored to your needs, all while avoiding hidden fees and confusing policies. So if you're ready for a better experience with auto insurance, visit rightwayinsuranceok.com or call 405-607-6014 for your free quote today. Right Way Insurance, no pressure, just the right insurance for you.
The outpouring of support has been fantastic, but it needs to continue, folks. If you hadn't heard, the University of Tennessee is not providing a broadcast location for Oklahoma's Los Sooners radio crew that brings you Spanish calls every Saturday. If you haven't already, I need you to take out your phone and tweet #FreeLosSooners in support of Enrique and Luis. Again, that is #FreeLosSooners. Please and thank you. Grayson,
yo,
I really hope Jet New turns out to be a good player. The reason I really hope Jet New turns out to be a good player is because if Jet New doesn't turn out to be a good player, there's going to be a lot of retroactive second-guessing, as if there already wasn't enough second-guessing in the moment as to Oklahoma's decision to sign New instead of just keeping Jamarian Ficklin home. Because, boy, that kid made it shake a little bit in his very first career start this past weekend.
He's good.
Yeah, he can play football.
And I called a game that involved him when he was at Muskogee. When Deer Creek went up there to play them in the semifinals a couple of years ago, my first year with the company. And he was cold in high school, and he is cold now. And he has looked like he has grown into what a college football quarterback needs to look like. He's gotten faster as well, and he's going to be a good player.
At the half on Saturday, in Jamarian Ficklin's first career start, he had racked up 113 passing yards, 163 rushing yards, and 3 total touchdowns, and Utah led Colorado 43-0. Again, that was at the half. And that felt like an enormous no-brainer, right? An enormous no-brainer. When Ben Arbuckle got to town, the Sooners had been flirting with Ficklin throughout the month of November. He was ready, man. He was committed to Texas State at the time. He was ready to spring whenever the Oklahoma offer came, and it never came. And Utah had been pushing for him, and he liked the fit out there, and he headed out there, signed with the Utes, emerged as Devin Dampier's backup as a true freshman, and now here he is. By the end of October, getting his first career start and doing some dang impressive things with it.
I, to this day, will not understand how. And look, you and I talked ad nauseum about Grady Adamson that ended up at Georgia Tech. Like, I can get behind, okay, we don't want to extend the offer just because he's an in-state kid. Good player, P4 guy, but I can see it. Jamarian Ficklin, man, I still to this day don't understand how they let that one get away without a fight.
Spartan Sooner says, I do think Ficklin will be a good player, but Colorado is in shambles. I want to see how he does against Cincy, who has become a decent team. And that's fair.
That is fair.
That's fair. First impression was really good. Might not be the only impression of Jamarian Ficklin that we get. But
CD from Hockley said Bixby would beat Colorado.
You know, they just might.
Very well
To
could.
be fair, Bigsby would probably be a pretty competitive group of 5 football team if we're being real.
Yeah.
Colorado ain't the only college team that Bigsby could give a run for their money. That's for dang sure. By the way, man, some of the stuff that continues to get thrown around on this coaching carousel is just absolutely bonkers. On the topic of Colorado, I'm becoming increasingly convinced that this is going to be Deion Sanders last year.
As am I.
Yeah, because he's not in good health. I think he's in worse health than people realize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're stuck in neutral right now. The luster has kind of worn off that whole experiment. But you can say he already accomplished what Colorado hired him to do, which was resurrect a dormant program. So were you ever going to win a national championship there? Probably not. But he accomplished, really in the span of 2 seasons, exactly what Colorado needed him to accomplish. So
make us interesting.
Wouldn't be surprised if that vacancy opens up at the end of the year in the event that Deion Sanders does elect to retire for health reasons. Also, by the way, and I know I mentioned this to you a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
I can't recall whether I mentioned it on air or not. There's a lot of smoke about Lincoln Riley and Baylor.
Yeah.
Which is wild to me, but also very unsurprising. Because where does Lincoln Riley's coaching style work the best? Where is it always probably going to work the best?
In the Big
12 conference.
Yeah.
And you show up to Baylor, immediately you're neck and neck with Grant Taft for the distinction of being the best head coach that Baylor has ever had.
And, I was talking to a friend of mine, younger Sooner fan, but, still a Sooner fan. There are some people that are wishing for the days of Lincoln Riley.
No doubt.
In terms of just being able to score the football and have an offense that was going to put points on the board.
Well, and there's some folks that are going to say, I'd rather be close than whatever the hell this is. And, okay. I mean, you're entitled to your opinion. But one thing can be said without reservation. Close will always be good enough at a place like Baylor.
Yes.
Probably not always going to be good enough at a place like USC, but it'll always be good enough at a place like Baylor.
Hey, you want to hit some of these texts?
Sure, let's
before we
do
get
it.
out of here. Joe in Tulsa says, we have to have slot receivers too, talking about Jahsiear Rogers. Shorter and shifty, but why is any receiver coming here after seeing Elijah Thomas and other sophomores and freshmen not getting on the field? Put Thomas in.
Let me point something out to you. You know exactly who Elijah Thomas is. I know exactly who Elijah Thomas is. We're acquainted with all the intimate details of Elijah Thomas's recruitment journey and the early trajectory of his career at the University of Oklahoma. What are the odds that Jahsiear Rogers knows an inkling of that? Not very high. This is part of the reason, and you know, my dad always told me growing up, and this was a good piece of advice. Whenever you're on the radio, whenever you're in front of a microphone, you have to keep in mind that some of the people listening will be grandmas who don't pay really any attention to sports. And you got to be able to speak their language. And you got to be able to understand that there's a variety of different perspectives, all of which you have to be mindful of, because everybody's going to be tapped in and plugged in to very different extents. And so, yes, as a fan, you know Elijah Thomas as the 6-foot, 194-pound freshman wide receiver from Chakota, Oklahoma that was a blue-chip player in the 2025 class, the number one player in the state of Oklahoma, and always wanted to be an Oklahoma Sooner, was the OG commit of the 2025 cycle, at least among those who stayed with Oklahoma. And now he's emerged as a special teams weapon in year one for the Sooners and has seen a snap here, a snap there at wide receiver in certain situations. Jahsiear Rogers probably knows Elijah Thomas as number 14. And that's about it.
Yeah, very true. Very true. A texter from the 405 says, if Emmett Jones is such a great recruiter, who has he brought in that has done anything noteworthy?
He's been here since January of 2023.
That's
his first recruiting class at Oklahoma was the class of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
The 4 receivers that Oklahoma signed that year, Zion Reagans, KJ Daniels, Zion Kearney, Ivan Garion. Those guys are sophomores right now. Daniels, a redshirt freshman. So, it's okay if we give those guys a little bit of time. We don't have to put the weight of the world and all of these astronomical expectations on these guys so early in the process when they are behind much more experienced wide receivers, the likes of Isaiah Satania and Deion Burks and Giovanni Gibson. Great text from a verified source who says, the text line never ceases to amaze me. Play the freshman! Bill sends Ryan Foje in at right tackle. What are we doing? I did kind of like that on Saturday. I loved the decision. Found out, of course, Friday afternoon that the Sooners were going to try Ryan Foje at right tackle. He played decent. He was all right. Didn't play a fantastic game, but again, he's a true freshman, right? So
exactly.
You're going to have modest expectations up front. At least you should. And I thought you saw enough from Ryan Foje to make you believe, okay, what we all imagined to be the case with Fasusi and Foje, i.e. these are two guys that can be Oklahoma's starting tackles for multiple seasons opposite one another at the University of Oklahoma. You see the potential there. You see the vision. Those guys haven't been in over their head. Now, they haven't always been spectacular. They've been prone to getting beat. They're young. They still got some things to polish, some things to refine. But in terms of the raw talent and the translatability, it's not hard to see that in Fasusi and Foje's respective game.
Yeah, 100% agree. And Fasusi had a rough day against Ole Miss. He had a rough one, but I thought Foje was just fine. One-star Joe Bob from Louisiana says, okay, then speak old people. That young offensive coordinator blanked his pants, scared of the moment.
Well, I'm sure Tyler and Ted will have thoughts on that. And so what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'll just pass that along to them. Because, folks, we are officially out of time here on Locked In. Always a fun show. Thanks to all of you that chime in throughout the day, every day on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. We love the interaction, love talking ball, love talking recruiting with all of you, and we will do it all again tomorrow, same time, same place, 2 p.m., right here on the Ref and the KREF app. Coming up next, as I teased, the Buckus Award winner, Teddy Lehman, and Tyler McComas take over for 3 more hours of OU Sports Talk, in which they will recap this game on Saturday from every angle imaginable. Keep it right here on the home of Sooner fans. We'll see you tomorrow.